Today, we're talking about AI, specifically the AI bubble.
AI is being hailed as a world-changing technology, but there are many signs that it is repeating the exact script of the dot-com bubble.
This scenario is similar to railroad and electricity booms in the past. Giants like NVIDIA, OpenAI, and Microsoft are creating spirals of illusionary finance. AI company stocks are hitting record highs, but their value isn't based on sustainable production. It's based on financial maneuvering. Is the AI economy the biggest bubble in history? And what happens if it bursts? We'll discuss this today. Welcome back to William. Note that the information presented here is compiled from many sources, so please comment below if there are any errors or necessary corrections. You can also join the Foreboding community group, which is great for those who want to learn more about the crypto industry. The link is in the description and comments.
From 19th century railroads to the dot-com boom of the late 1990s, this pattern repeats itself. And now we have AI.
Companies are highly valued because the market is FOMOing and they want to ride the wave and cash in, not because of the true value the company provides.
And the market here isn't you and me. It's the big players engaging in what's called circular transactions. The giants invest capital in each other and then use that money to buy services from each other. For example, NVIDIA invests in OpenAI, and OpenAI commits to buying hundreds of billions of dollars worth of NVIDIA chips. Then Microsoft invests in OpenAI, and OpenAI buys cloud services from Azure.
And Oracle invests in a joint project with OpenAI, and OpenAI commits to spending tens of billions of dollars on Oracle's infrastructure.
It's complicated, but it can be simplified. You invest money in me, and I use that money to buy your services back. Funding comes from those investment commitments made by the partners they are promising to buy from. This can't be called outright fraud because the companies are genuinely investing and selling real products. However, the growth isn't driven by organic market demand, but by financial engineering. And history shows that schemes like this Before moving to the next section, let me quickly introduce our sponsor, Odoo. Odoo is an application that helps businesses manage their entire supply chain, from sales and inventory to purchasing. Everything happens automatically, seamlessly, and efficiently. No more lost orders or running out of stock. For instance, you create an order in the sales app, then check inventory. If stock is low, you get notified immediately to make an early decision. From there, you just click a button to automatically create a purchase request. Then you switch to the purchasing app, check supplier info and price, and this entire process is paperless. No need to send emails between departments, just management approval and confirmation.
Once the goods arrive, the inventory app automatically updates the stock for everyone to see the status.
Odoo helps your business avoid losing orders, saves time and costs, and increases control and efficiency for business owners. You can click the link in the description and comments to start your free trial now. At that time, America Online used a circular investment strategy. They injected capital into startups. The startups then bought advertising on AOL. AOL recorded that as revenue, inflating their stock price. AOL then used the inflated stock to invest in more startups. This was a continuous development cycle, but the cash was just moving from one pocket to another. Real market demand. When the market realized this, the game ended, and many companies lost 90% of their stock value or vanished entirely. Motorola and Nokia were hailed as gold mines. To sell equipment, they lent tens of billions of dollars to customers to buy their own gear.
Their revenue grew, their stock flew, and they lent more. They created another cycle of artificial growth not based on real demand.
By 2001, 90 to 95% of U.S. fiber optic cable was known as dark fiber.
When the bubble burst, the consequences were devastating. Half of U.S. telecom carriers went bankrupt.
The telecom index lost 86% of its value. $2 trillion in market cap.
This is not just a story about modern finance. It's a story about human greed that began in the 19th century U.S. railroad boom.
In 1873, the bubble burst, triggering a 6-year recession known as the Great Depression until the 1930s crisis happened.
The same story repeated with the electricity sector in the 1920s. Everyone believed electricity was revolutionary, which was true. But everyone rushed to invest, and when the stock market crashed in 1929, utility companies were buried in debt and went bankrupt.
The key takeaway: technology lives on, but many of the companies built to deploy it die young. The most important lesson from every bubble is the lack of financial risk management. Companies fail to save enough reserve capital to weather a crisis.
Companies heavily reliant on debt will inevitably collapse in a recession, regardless of how accurate their technology vision is.
NVIDIA makes the chips, OpenAI makes the models. They optimize for each other, leaving almost no room for competitors.
They don't need illegal collusion. A rational partnership is enough to stifle all competition.
NVIDIA fine-tunes its chips exclusively for OpenAI, so OpenAI runs better than everyone else. This establishes a barrier that no startup can overcome. As a result, Intel became the default choice for decades, even when AMD's technology was competitive.
But AI is far more dangerous. It's not just a computer OS, it's the intermediary layer for almost all future technology.
From ride sharing and video editing to turning on your smart lights, everything could pass through AI.
If this intermediary layer is controlled by just one or two companies, that power is terrifying.
This would not just be a chip or software monopoly, it would be a monopoly over how humans interact with technology.
Another story worth discussing is the gap between the theory and the reality of AI application. Tech companies constantly announce hundreds of billions of dollars in AI investment.
But it seems people aren't using AI for work as much as the hype suggests. Outside of content creation, an MIT study showed that 95% of businesses do not achieve their expected ROI from AI.
The reasons aren't technological failure, but rather employees not knowing how to use AI, not trusting AI, or AI not. The reasons aren't technological failure, but rather employees not knowing how to use AI, not trusting AI, or AI not.
Factor is that AI models are becoming increasingly similar. Last year, we saw big differences between Gemini, Grok, and ChatGPT.
AI is entering the commoditization phase, meaning companies cannot compete purely on technology.
To differentiate, they must rely on interface, ecosystem, pricing, and customer service. But for companies already valued sky high, like OpenAI, what justifies that price tag if the product isn't superior?
OpenAI has committed to spending $1 trillion on infrastructure in the coming years, a huge amount that private funding alone cannot cover. This suggests OpenAI will almost certainly IPO within the next 12 months. OpenAI's brand strength is immense. For many, AI equals OpenAI, just as searching equals Google. This could lead to the largest IPO in history, with a valuation between $1 and $3 trillion. The risk is that if their revenue doesn't grow fast enough, their debt burden could lead to bankruptcy, regardless of the technology's promise. Amazon survived because they had real revenue from real customers, even without profit. OpenAI does not have that certainty.
This is the exact strategy Amazon executed 20 years ago. Accept zero profit, focus on market share
Sam
expansion.
Altman's vision is wrong, or even off by a few years, the company spending too aggressively will face existential risk. So, what are the potential scenarios for the AI bubble? Scenario 1, market self-correction. This is optimistic. The AI bubble bursts like the dot-com crash. Tech stocks drop 50% to 70%. Many companies fail, and others restructure to survive.
It's short-term pain, but the system survives, and the economy recovers more sustainably.
Scenario 2, AI companies use their inflated stock to acquire traditional businesses.
They exchange paper wealth for real assets. AI shareholders are protected, but the risk is transferred entirely to the acquired Scenario 3, the AI bubble bursts, creating geopolitical instability. The US economy weakens, internal political divisions intensify, creating a power vacuum.
This opens the door for geopolitical rivals like Russia and China to act more aggressively.
Scenario 4, when the economy collapses, a constitutional crisis ensues.
An authoritarian leader emerges, breaking the democratic rule of law.
Each state implements its own economic and political policies, effectively turning the US into an EU version of America. They are unified in name, but disconnected in reality.
That's a few scenarios that I could conjure up.
The video is long enough now. I am William.
En until praten surprise, approach Kate's in their frabs through the scrub. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any video.